Thank you all for being here. I am Ray Dowling, Area Manager with Florida Power and Light and the current Chairman of the Board for the Manatee Chamber. And it's a great morning to be a part of the Chamber and out here in Lakewood Ranch. Thank you all for those of you who had to pack breakfast in order to get here. I know sometimes for those of you who are on the west side of town, it may seem like a long way to come, but it's just really around the corner. And we do appreciate your being here. If I might remind each of you to turn off your cell phones, that would be great. And at this point in time, we're going to kind of get right into it, but I'd like to introduce a few of our honored guests that we have with us today. If I might introduce our Manatee County Commissioners, including Commissioner Betsy Benak, Commissioner Larry Bussell, Commissioner John Chappie, and Commissioner Carol Whitmore. Also would like to introduce from the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport Authority with us, Dr. Peter Wish, Mr. John Stafford, there he is, and Mr. Jack Reinerson in the back. And also to thank Kaiser University, the Mosaic Company, and also the Bradenton Area EDC for their support in putting on this breakfast for us this morning. We have with us today an honored guest, which is Ms. Catherine Harris. She's a former U.S. Representative and the Florida Secretary of State and serving in the Florida Senate from 1994 to 98, and as a United States Representative from 2003 to 2007. Ms. Harris is the executive chair of the 2014 Modern Pentathlon and was instrumental in finding funds and securing bids for this area. She's taken her 13-plus years of leadership in state government and is using her experience to make this area an epicenter for Olympic-style sports. I had the pleasure of hearing her presentation the other day in Sarasota, and it's quite remarkable what she has been able to do with community leaders here, and I know we're all going to get behind her and help her with this event that's coming up very shortly, and looking forward to it. And with no further ado, I'll let Catherine talk to us about what's going on.
Well, thank you ever so much for having me here today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I think one of the most important things about this whole endeavor is they never would come to Sarasota, Manatee counties were it not for the kind of community support we had right away. It's remarkable. I don't think there's any place else in the country that could have come together and put this kind of opportunity or even be available to have this kind of opportunity except for this region. Typically, cities or counties will get together, plan this 5 years in advance, make a bid, create a committee, raise the funds, and whether you know it or not, we're doing this in about 45 days. It's going to come off the first one. So it's really important, the participation of Manatee County. At the very beginning, when we started obviously in Sarasota, and we had the chance to compete, to have a World Cup final of the modern pentathlon. Now, that hasn't occurred in over 40 years on our soil. And the pentathlon is the most elegant of Olympic sports. It's a military sport. Baron Coubertin revised it and made it reflect a more modern time so the Olympics could be appealing to everyone instead of the javelin and shot put, all those sorts of things at the turn of the century. So the pentathlon, the modern pentathlon, is based on a 19th century French soldier who finds himself behind enemy lines. So he must get a message to his general, and necessarily he has to swim across a river, then fight with an épée sword, then jump on any horse available, not his own, and clear 12 major obstacles, and then run and shoot at the same time. So as you can imagine, this is an extraordinary athlete. It's called the complete or ideal athlete in the Olympic family. And so we have the chance to have the most prestigious event of the modern pentathlon, and that's the World Cup finals. These are qualifying points to go to the Olympics. What's unique about this bid as well is we thought maybe we wouldn't just bid for one, we'd bid for four, and maybe we would get one. Actually, I hoped we would get all four. And we made this bid in Cyprus, and we did win all four. So we will be hosting this June 5 through 8, the World Cup finals for the modern pentathlon. And then March of next year, we're hosting the World Cup #1. There are 4 World Cups and then a finals. The first World Cup each year is the largest of the events, so the economic impact will be much greater. And then in 2016, we bid to host the World Cup finals again. So in 2016, we'll host not only the World Cup finals, but also the Olympic trials. So it's a very exciting time. Sarasota, Manatee counties, and I say Sarasota, Bradenton for the marketing value globally, will have the bookends of the Olympics of those athletes who will have the opportunity to go to Rio. So we're on the road to Rio. You'll get to know these athletes firsthand, even watching one event. It's very endearing. You see these young athletes just trying their heart out, and it's a remarkable time. So we have won these 4 events, and they will be arriving June 5th. Opening night will be at the Ringling Museum. And that evening, we're going to salute our military. The athletes will walk in with their uniforms and their flags. They'll march down through down into the courtyard, up the loggia, and plant the flags along the Statue of David. And then we're honoring a gentleman named Colonel John Russell. He was the aide-de-camp to Patton, to General Patton. General Patton was our first pentathlete from the United States. Colonel Russell is a grand equestrian. He's 93 years old, and anything to touch Olympic horses, like the pentathlon, he's in charge of. So I said, gee, we should honor him. So we are. And he then the head of the Olympic Committee for Pentathlon heard about it, and he said, well, I want to come and give him the highest honor, the medal Coubertin, which is the Medal of Honor for the Olympics. So we'll be presenting him that. And then I was telling the New York Racing Association president about it, and he said, well, I want to come. Oh, I can't. It's the weekend of Belmont. But NBC Universal is covering us. NBC Universal is covering the Belmont Stakes. So they are going to film it, and they're going to show it at Belmont Stakes. And then we get to show Belmont Stakes on a Jumbotron at Pentathlon. So you see, the story just keeps going on. And the opportunities, I think, for this community are staggering. NBC Universal goes to 25 million households. And the Union of International Pentathlon Modern is working on an agreement that goes to another 125 million households globally. So as you see, we have a unique opportunity to showcase our gorgeous region during these games. They'll begin at Selby Aquatic Center. A typical day will be this. On Friday is the women's competition, Saturday is the men's competition, and Sunday is the mixed relay. So a typical day would be, it begins at Selby Aquatic Center, and there's a fencing round robin tournament in the gym. And then there's a swimming competition for a 200 meter. Then at noon, they come up to polo fields, and it's going to be, we hope to get arts involved and make it kind of a festival. The arts were always involved in the Olympics up until 1940, and so they want to bring that back. And so then around noon, they have the fencing final on one piece. They'll fight with an épée sword, and they'll have the final of the fencing. Then they'll have the hunter jumper equitation, and then they'll do the run and shoot. The run is 800 meters around. The runners run, then they stop, and they have to collect their breath and shoot and hit 5 targets with a laser pistol. And then they run another 800 meters, stop, they have to hit 5 targets before they can continue on. So they do that 4 times, and the first person to cross the finish line wins the competition. So it's extremely exciting, and we're thrilled for this opportunity. So these are what we have in store. The Union of International Pentathlon Modern, one of their top executives, is coming in this Friday, and I'm hoping to create an event for him so you'll have a chance to meet him and he can get to know the community and see how supportive we are of these events coming in. We're going to try to do that Friday evening. I know you have the big DeSoto ball that evening, but we'll try to align that. If you're interested in coming and meeting and talking to him, please give me your card, and I'll make sure that that you're invited. So next. Anyway, that is the story of the Modern Pentathlon. If it were not for Manatee and Sarasota counties, who stepped up to the plate, as well as Gulf Coast Community Foundation and Sanka, the Benderson organization at the rowing facility, we would not have had the opportunity to bid. I came back from meeting with them over the summer. My husband and I were there and made this presentation, and it was at a Sanka meeting actually, and no one really believed that this would be possible in such a short time, and we presented it. They stepped up to the plate financially. We had a $200,000 commitment to show that we were serious about the games, and we won. So, and you won. And I think we all win in this, and again, I think the only reason they chose us is they didn't think that anyone could do as good a job as two counties coming together in a commitment to make this happen. So, are there any questions? Oh, my slides, okay. So we're hoping for between 5,000 and 10,000 people. That's going to be one of the ways we're judged by the Union of International Modern Pentathlon, as well as the USA Pentathlon, in order that there's enough interest and that the children are there, that they see that there's hope for the future, that they can participate in athletics, that they can see. We hope to convey those noble ideals and values that the Olympians have, because they really are our heroes, and they really are grand examples for our children to see. Of course, these are Olympians in the making, and so that's what I was saying, that you have such a great chance to get to know them. They'll be interacting with our community, and we'll be able to bring some of them in to go into the schools, and certainly during the course of the next year prior to the next games, we really want the exposure of these athletes with our youth, so they have a chance to know that they too could be engaged in these kinds of high-level sports. From an economic standpoint, we had originally looked at Indianapolis, which had done about $2 billion in economic development just through world-class and amateur sports, because that is such an enormous multiplier effect. When children are involved in sports, then their families are, and the kind of economic development they bring is so strong. So we really are hoping to have the opportunity to grow these sports. I've had a number of conversations with the Olympic family and others of all kinds of high-level competitions that should we have the interest and should we do a good job on these games, they want to bring to this region. So.
Catherine, how did you get involved?
Oh, I have long been involved in the Olympics, and when Tampa was making their bid originally, we tried to help them as well. I've known some of the Olympic family, and for about 20 years I've been telling them that I thought the Modern Pentathlon really belonged in this region, just when I saw them. But I wasn't teasing, and so this summer we had a chance to go and sit down firsthand and say, we really are serious, even though I hadn't really spoken with anyone yet, but I knew we would be if they were serious. And you were, and that's what's so great. But it's just such an extraordinary sport, and the Modern Pentathlon is special because it's considered the complete or ideal athlete. And we want to have camps, and we're going to have the opportunity to bring in the fencing fulls and uniforms and the laser pistols and let our children have the exposure to do those kinds of things during the course of the year. We have all sorts of events planned, not only this Modern Pentathlon final, but then the next World Cup, events in between, to make sure the community is aware and involved and engaged, and again, we'll bring in the athletes. We have some really fun and crazy ideas. We might even create a corporate competition with our own pentathlon, maybe beach volleyball for 4 or 5 other sports. I mean, for altogether 5 sports, just to get the community engaged and recognize the opportunity we have there. It does, and it's a laser pistol. So the athletes actually, after when they run to the table, they have to load, shoot, then touch the table, load, shoot. So it's very exciting.
How do you view this? They run around.
Okay, so picture yourself at the polo fields, and much the same as you would watch a polo match. You'll have, you can bring your blankets. We'll have a big tent with food and all those sorts of things. And Paul Blackheader is great at creating what he calls the mojo with his umbrellas and picnic tables and those kinds of things around that arena. It's 800 meters all the way around the running arena. There'll be some stadium seating, but most likely everybody says that they don't even really use that. They like to kind of gather around and watch it. So, and on the shooting, what will happen is when you hit the target, the light turns red. And so you can actually know when they're hitting or not. And we will have it red on both sides. So depending on where you are, you'll be able to know that they're hitting it or not. And it's, at the end, they line up. They've accumulated points all day in the fencing, swimming, and equitation event. And so you're lined up, your points equate to feet or meters. And so you're lined up accordingly when you get ready to make your run. So if you're a really great runner, you could be dead last, but you could be coming around and passing people, and they're trying, or they're not a good shooter, and they're trying to get hit their 5 targets, and all along people are running past you. It's really exciting. It really is. And the athletes, as I said, they're amazing, and our young men and women are awesome. Our one woman who is in the pentathlon from the USA team is the top in the world. And a lot of the guys are from the military. So they're so polite and so gracious. And a lot of the athletes are, and they really like to engage the public and talk to them. And we want to have opportunities for the kids to have their pictures taken, with these athletes, things like that. And any ideas that you have. It's just going to continue. One thing I'm very excited about is that we have the chance to not only host this one, and it's pretty intense with 45 days away. If any of you guys want to jump on and help, believe me, we have plenty of roles to fill to make sure the games come off well. And really the most important thing is getting people there. But it's going to be, the important aspect, I think, is not only do we have this game that's going to be wonderful, but we have 3 more opportunities. So we just want to do this game well. It's smaller by virtue of the fact it's the finals. There are only 72 athletes from around the world competing, but we want to do it perfectly and have everyone have a good time, starting with the athletes from the moment they get off the plane. Their experience has to be perfect, or they won't want to come back, and they don't have to come back. So even though we won those games, we have to prove that we can do it and do a very good job. But we have 3 more times, so we can continue to grow on this and do all kinds of things. And there are opportunities to interact with the athletes and long-term relationships. And so these are some of the things that we're really looking forward to for this region. Yes. It's very small. We're going to, if you buy the package ahead of time, it's like $30, and entrance there for the day for an adult is $15. But we're also going to do all kinds of packages for seniors, for veterans, for children, and the whole goal is to get people there. So just wondering about no scholarship opportunities for some of the kids that might. Absolutely. Complete scholarship opportunities for the children if we can get them there. We want the youth to be able to see this and experience it and learn about what it means to be an Olympian. Absolutely. Huge scholarships for all the children if they want to come. Sorry.
The community outreach with the children.
Yes.
Do you have a program for that set up? Because I have a group.
Oh, that would be fantastic. We are just, actually, we're just catching as catch can. We're reaching out to every group that we possibly can, encouraging them to come. There wasn't an overarching organization that we could tap that could hit all the groups. So please let me know. And we are fast and furiously reaching out to the young groups, youth groups, especially since since school will be over at that time. It will be summertime. Okay. So it's a great activity for them to do for the weekend. Yes.
Catherine, are you working at all with Boys and Girls Clubs?
We have reached out. I know that there are people there. We have volunteers who are reaching out, who have reached out to Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Boys and Girls Clubs, Girls Inc., Sarasota Military Academy, and there's so many others. I don't even know them all, but again, we want to reach everyone. So to the extent you have engagement with any of these youth groups, please let us know. With church youth groups, synagogues, whatever it is, we really want to have the youth there. We think that's for the next generation. We think sports are so important for them to learn.
So as an organizational structure, are you working with Sanka? Are you working with sports group at Lakewood Ranch?
We have an org chart, and originally when we made the bid, we were working with Benderson with Sanka, and we couldn't have had a better partner. Paul Blackcutter knows how to run an event he must have 1,000 little check marks on how to run an event, and that they've been taken care of, and that they're working. So we partnered with Sanka. Then when we won the bid, they changed the dates. And so it turned out that it was the same time as the Sunshine State Games. And so while Paul thought that we could handle both there, it would have been great because it would have been a lot of people. Yeah, Paul can do, I think he can do anything. I actually met Paul, if I can share this with you, when I was visiting Iraq. And I was with General Petraeus, and somebody said, "That's my congresswoman." And it was Paul Blackcutter, this big guy who was over there, you know, my hero, protecting us. So so we went and took a picture together on Saddam Hussein's throne. So there are a lot of synchronicities that are occurring here throughout the games that just make us feel like we're on the right track. So Paul is actually in charge of the venues. He knows how to run an organization. John Krotek, who's his volunteer coordinator, is extraordinary. And they have so many volunteers, so they're training them to help us as well at the same time, and they have enough to be able to cover both events. So we're very fortunate that we had that organizational structure in place. Otherwise, I just don't know how we possibly could have done it in such short order, but again, that's our community. I mean, people come to the table and rise up and do remarkable things. So. Anyone else? So Friday night, if you want to meet the gentleman coming in from Union of International Pentathlon Modern, please let me know and I'll be in touch. Because I want him to meet people in Manatee County and see how supportive you are, and see that we're going to have a great opportunity for the games this summer. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much for being here. Does anybody have any other questions? I certainly know that we're behind you and will help and support anything that we can do. Certainly we'll be in touch with Paul, and I'm sure Paul will be in touch with us and all the different groups. But if anybody does have any volunteers or youth groups or whatever, I would say get information both to Catherine and or to Paul, and they'll take it from there, and we'll have a great event that first week in June. So thank you all for being here, and we'll have a great day.
One of the most important aspects of having the Modern Pentathlon Finals on U.S. soil for the first time in 40 years is the exposure to all of the international guests to this region. More importantly to me, the economic development is wonderful, and we have 4 shots at it. We have the finals this year, we have the World Cup event in March of next year, which will be our largest event, and then in 2016 we'll have the finals again, as well as the Olympic trials. But the most important aspect is the opportunity for our community to get to know these athletes, future Olympians on their road to Rio, and especially our children. So many organizations have helped. If it weren't originally for Sarasota County, their CVB, and Visit Sarasota, our Sarasota County governments, as well as Gulf Coast Community Foundation and Sanka, the World Championship Rowing Facility. They all jumped on board immediately, and we were able to submit a bid for these amazing opportunities. Now we've created so many more partnerships. For example, with Ringling College of Art and Design, they've created an extraordinary logo that even the Olympic Committee is excited about. Also, USF, the College of Hospitality, and the College of Education are doing remarkable things and reaching out to our students throughout the region. The USA Pentathlon is sponsoring a contest. It's going to be for our high schools, and they can write, it will be announced in the papers and hopefully the schools, that they can write us an article about why this pentathlon is so important to Sarasota and Manatee counties. In doing so, the top winner, the the one female, one male, they'll have a chance to go to Colorado Springs for 4 days, all expenses paid, to the Olympic training facility. So we're really excited about that as well. So there's so many amazing opportunities with regard to the modern pentathlon. It's considered the ideal or complete athlete with these 5 sports of fencing, swimming, running, shooting, and equitation. We're hopeful to expose the whole region to this wonderful sport. The important aspect that the community can understand is this: number one, it's a great economic development opportunity over the course of the 4 events and the next 3 years. Secondly, it's a great opportunity for our children to learn more about the Olympics, to get to know about the Olympic ideals and values, true heroes, true role models. And last of all, it's going to be a fabulous time for families, for friends, to come out and enjoy a Olympic quality sport. It is an Olympic sport. These are the World Cup events that will create the opportunity for these athletes to move on to Rio in 2016.
It's a great opportunity for the community, for all segments of the community. I'm especially excited for the children in the community that get to see this sporting event and how they in the future could participate. It's a great introduction of the pentathlon to the community. Businesses and schools, governments all coming together to make this happen. Great international event, bringing attention to our community. Couldn't be more excited about it. Well, because it attracts all segments to the community. It gives us international flavor. It brings children, adults, seniors together. It's a great economic development opportunity for job creation in the future, and it's a great training area for children to do more than sit and play their Game Boys. Part of our targeted industries is high-tech businesses, and there's nothing more high-tech than sports in today's society, so it's a natural pairing up of activities that will bring future benefits to the community and all the people that live here in this great area.